How's everybody doing? We got opening day today. Very exciting time. Just going solo today. Chase and Isaac both at work, unfortunately. Sure, they're still tuning into the games and whatnot, but we got a fun one this year, and I'm excited for it. I think everyone's pretty pumped. I've been on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, especially a lot more the last like week or so. But you can feel the excitement. I know there is some pessimistic kind of people still about the season. We'll talk about I'll talk about the roster a little bit today, but there definitely is a little bit of that. And I don't know, maybe with Gurriel and just like some of the older guys on the roster and whatnot, and some of the guys not making the roster, people seemed a little bit upset. Either way, we got opening day baseball. The Padres lineup is a little bit funky, so we can talk about that a little bit. I think people are still kind of filing in here. I don't know how long ago, probably like I think the game starts at 4:10 Eastern, right? So I think we have 25 minutes here. So I'll go up until 10 minutes before, so everyone can go grab their beer, their snacks, whatever. And then also just if you're listening, post game, we're also going to break down the roster and stuff and kind of go over all like season predictions and whatnot because I feel like I don't know. I feel like some people always, not always, but some people feel like our channel with Friar Talk is a little bit more pessimistic about the Padres because we do criticize some of the stuff that they do, but dude, this is a good roster. I think that we need to break that down. So I'm very excited for the season. I remember last year we had the early start where it was Padres Dodgers in South Korea. Very very fun series there. But yeah, so I see a couple questions here, a couple comments to start us off. We got opening days here. Let's fucking go San Diego. Yes, absolutely. My dad's actually at the game, so hopefully it's fun over there. I think the vibes at the ballpark seem really good. I'm sure everyone's filing in, really excited. I also do think it's really funny that we do have. Sorry, I'm reading the comments over here. That we do have Jerks and Profar leading it off for the Braves, which is just kind of hilarious. We'll get into this Padres lineup. I see some comments over here about the mullet. Yeah, dude, I had to rock the mullet. I got a cut like maybe last week sometime. I feel like it's baseball season, right? Like this is the look for it. I got the side shaved right here, but it's pretty fun. I was gonna shave before I got him, but I kind of ran out of time, so wasn't able to do that. But still, I got the baseball look going right now. But yeah, I want to talk about the lineup a little bit here. So let me share my screen right now. Let's see here. All right, let me share my screen real quick and show you guys what we got. Kind of break it down because I do think everyone was like, "What in the hell?" So I'll say this: I'm fine with the first three. Honestly, I think that makes sense. You get Tatis, Arise, Machado. That's fine, and I think a lot of people want Arise leading off. I want to say that he's hit better in the 2 spot, and Tatis has actually hit better in at leadoff for the majority of their careers. Like that's their best spots. I'm fine with it. Say Tatis comes in, gets on base, gets a steal, hits a double, whatever. Like, maybe you lose the power a little bit because he's at the top of the lineup, which I think is definitely the downside there because you do like a Rise hitting before him. But either way, you got a Rise behind him. He's gonna bring Tatis in a lot. So I do like it quite a bit. Machado at 3, that's fine. I mean, put him at 3 or 4. I feel like that's always where he's gonna be. The 1 through 3 is fine. Maybe people have a problem with it. I think Tatis leading off is fun, especially for opening day. I don't know if this is necessarily how they're going to go with it throughout the season because I mean, and obviously you see changes and stuff every day. Bogart's cleanup. That was a little strange, a little funky, and Merrill at 5. Now I feel like it's kind of just like a whole like vet thing, but you want Merrill moved up the lineup, and I feel like a lot of people. I think ideally the thought process is a Rise 1, Tatis 2. Merrill 3, Machado 4. And I agree with that. Either way, you got to move Merrill up into the top 4 spots. I think that makes more sense. But hey, Bogarts is hitting the ball well at the end of spring. Maybe that's what they're feeling. They're just like, hey, let's try to put him in a spot where he can drive guys in and we can use that contact. And hopefully it starts off good with him because it has not been a great tenure in San Diego. And I think many fans would agree with that. We've ripped Bogarts numerous times. The good thing is the AAV in his deal isn't that crazy, even though people really like to freak out about it. It's more about the long term, the fact how long term his contract is. Either way, though, like we need a good year from Bogarts. I think that's very clear. Merrill, we need the same thing he did last year. I know a lot of people are expecting that. he's going to take a big jump and stuff. We get the same year from last year. That's an all-star caliber season. That's a really, really elite season from him. So I'd be happy there. Then it gets a little weird. Obviously, Gurriel. We haven't talked about it on the channel yet. He made the roster. We've put a lot of stuff up on Twitter about it. It is odd, man. The fact that they cut Aggie for him. I mean, and it's not like we didn't see it coming, but it is just a strange thing that he's your guy. He's your opening day starter when it seemed like he was more of like on like this like kind of minor league deal and like they weren't going to really bring him up. You have Cronenworth. People really love to just like absolutely shit on Cronenworth. Cronenworth is a solid player, especially if he's at second base. He's a valuable player at second base. He's solid. He's a solid bottom of the lineup hitter. I know people don't want to say that. They want to say that, oh, he's pretty terrible and stuff. He's an average hitter. He's a really good fielder. He plays a bunch of positions. He's fine, dude. He's going to be on the Padres for a long time. He's not, hurting them super bad financially or anything like that. His contract's whatever. Like maybe it's a little bit much or that's the case, but he's very streaky, and I think that he can have a bounce back year. But if he hits 720, 730 OPS, which I'm guessing that's around, like, let's see, what is Jake Cronenworth's career average OPS? And I know that the recent years haven't been as good. I get that, but career average OPS 740. So if he's even below that, it's like you can still be a valuable player. The average OPS most seasons is between like 720 to 740. So throughout his career, he's been an above average hitter roughly, and he's a very, very good defender. He can play multiple positions. You can put him all across the infield. So he's, maybe in an ideal world, he's like a super utility guy, but either way, he's in the lineup, totally fine. All right. And I also did see people talking about Iglesias because Iglesias has great numbers against Sale. It's all right, dude. It's opening day. He's the guy you're going to keep rolling out there. Iglesias is on a 1-year deal. Maybe you could have changed it up. You could have put a Rise DH, and you could have put Cronenworth at first, and you could have put Iglesias at second. That's better, but these are obviously the guys that they're rocking with. Lockridge, he barely, he's one of the guys that makes the roster. They like the matchup today. Diaz, he's probably going to be most, your catcher most of the time. But the catcher room, you don't have Campy up there. It's a little bit weird. You don't have Brett Sullivan. You go with the aging guy there, and Diaz, who, I'm not going to lie, guys, like, this is a really, really weak catcher room. This is the weakest part of the team. Probably one of the worst catching rooms in the entire MLB, if not the worst. Not trying to hate, but we're going to need Diaz to be a solid piece. If he's not, I also think they can go make a move for someone. And also with Campusano, because he doesn't make the team, right? Well, maybe part of it is just that, they want him to work on some stuff, which I feel like at this point, everyone's like, yeah, bro, he's been working on stuff for, he's been up in and out of the majors for like 4 years now. So I get it, but last year he wasn't good. He struggled. They changed up his swing a bunch. They did it. He wasn't good defensively. Where the year before he was a lot better. So maybe they're doing something, and maybe we should expect him to come back up soon. I feel like that makes a lot more sense. I don't know if Gurriel is going to come. I don't know. I don't know if Gurriel might be on the roster for the whole year. I don't think Malondo is going to be, but I don't know. I think that the bottom of the bench, everyone freaking out about that. Like I said, stuff like, okay, this is like, it's just kind of like, all right, it's kind of annoying, and it's kind of just like, yeah, these guys probably shouldn't have made the roster. Also with Kolek not being the fifth starter. But at the end of the day, like, this roster is not your roster that you're gonna, if you're in a playoff push, that you're gonna have in a playoff push. You're gonna have different guys come up, and a lot of it's gonna depend on injuries, a lot of stuff like that. So I wouldn't be too concerned, just because we know how much the Padres are fine with adjusting their roster throughout the season. The good thing is you have a really good top part of the, top half of the lineup. You have some really good bullpen pieces. You have 3 super legit starters, maybe just 2 right now, but still, if I would say 4, maybe if Darvish is healthy, I guess you have 4 guys that you're really faithful in, and then you have 1 guy's fighting for those spots. Darvish, they had good news on him today. He's playing catch. He should be back soon. But I think that this is a really good team. I'll get into my predictions now, and then we'll kind of start popping into the chat and stuff, because I do think that a lot of people like I feel like there's a lot of like really either people are really ridiculously positive or super, super negative. Ideally, right now, you look at this roster and it's like, okay, if you had to project them to be in a playoff spot, I'd put them in the last seed in the wild card. That's what I would do. I wouldn't think that they're going to be over a 90-win team. I would say like 86 to 88 wins, scrape into the wild card round. However, we can see the roster change. We can see adjustments here. Maybe you get a really good MVP caliber season from either Machado or Tatis, right? Well, if that happens, then number's gonna bump up. You have a really good bullpen, that number's gonna bump up. Randy Vasquez is solid, or Hart, or I don't know, Cole comes up and he's really good. It's like those numbers can adjust. Same thing goes if guys get banged up. I mean, we know this, guys. If people get hurt, we know Tatis has really struggled to stay on the field. They lose him, their lineup's going to be hurting, man. It's going to be hurting a lot. But I do think this is overall a good roster. I think there's just a lot of like negativity about it, and I don't really know if I agree. Like last year, the Padres had one of the best lineups in baseball, especially towards the end of the season. They lost Kim, right? The catcher position is not as good. But, like, it's really similar. Like, it is very, very similar. You have Gavin Sheets that's been tearing the cover off the baseball. He's not in the lineup today, but, like, we're gonna see a good team, I think, this year, and I'm really excited for it. I'll get into some of the questions over here now. I see Devin right here. I think Murrow will ball out. He's hit 30 home runs and 90 plus RBIs. Tatis Jr. needs to have an injury-free season, maybe dark horse MVP performance. Dude, if Tatis is healthy, Tatis is going to be in the MVP race. Like, he's always playing to that caliber. I know his numbers were down a little bit last year. Dude, the advanced numbers were ridiculous, and you saw how good he was in the playoffs. If Merrill was able to hit 30 bombs, that would be pretty crazy. I know he talked about getting his grown man strength and stuff in spring. We saw him go opposite field a little bit. He's a beast. He's just a star player already. But I could definitely see it. Like, don't get me wrong, but I would be very content with Merrill just being a solid, the same guy he was last year. Not solid, an elite player like he was last year. Running up in Rookie of the Year, and the dude was one of the best Rookie of the Years ever in Paul Skeens. He would have taken that award home almost every other year. So I think that Merrill, if he just puts up the same numbers he did last year, that'd be awesome. However, everyone's hoping that he's going to put up better numbers. The Padres do have, their 3 stars are super legit. They got Arias is bad. They got a lot of positive stuff for them. So I could see a Jackson Merrill, breakout year, like not a breakout, but like a second season jump. But I'd be very content if he's just the same guy he was last year, which is a super elite player. Another comment right here: Cronenworth and Bogaerts they got a little to prove. I think yes, because Cronenworth, like let's pull up their numbers right now. And actually, let's pull up their baseball savants, because I feel like I started to talk about Cronenworth a little bit earlier, but it's true that his season last year was not as good. Like, I don't think anyone's arguing that. I'm not arguing that. He had some good, I want to say, like, kind of thinking it back in my head, he had good numbers at the beginning of the year. And we're going to see right here, because I'm going to dive into the stats. This stuff looks okay. Where were we? Okay. Standard. No, here we go. Splits. Right? Here we go. So, yeah, beginning of the year, he was doing really well. First 3 months at the end of May, 776 OPS. That's awesome. Or this is just per month. This isn't in order. But anyways, he had a really good month, really good. Like, if you get this right here, this top half up until June, that's solid. March, he only had a few at-bats, but still, like, all of this is really good. Started out the year really hot. He was terrible in July. He was terrible in September, and he was terrible in October when it mattered most. That was the problem, was the second half of this season. He really started to fall off. I want to see if we can get, pre-post. Look at this. Pre-All-Star break, 752 OPS. Post-All-Star break, 649. So it was definitely like a tale of two halves for Jake Cronenworth. You look at his numbers here. You look at some of the past seasons. I mean, 714 OPS isn't as terrible as I feel like people kind of think that's awful. It was more that just that the second half of the year he wasn't good. You get the good chase and whiff rate, the good contact abilities right here. Above average kind of in terms of batting average, stuff like that. His average was lower, right? Slugging, his expected numbers are higher than what he actually had. On base, same thing. So he underperformed to where he should, I guess, right? In terms of looking at the advanced numbers, which is what we always try to do. But let's look at this year. Last year, the year before, he was way worse. He had a bad 23. So I think that's why it's like he had a bad 23. He didn't have a complete 2024. 22, I mean, this is bad too, man. Like, this was a rough year. I mean, 722 isn't terrible, but this is where we were talking about this, I want to say, like a couple months ago, Isaac and I, the slugging. All the slugging's under 400. If he can get his slugging up to 400, he's going to be good. Look at this, 2021. Great year for him. He was awesome this year. But overall, I mean, and this also, a lot of the fielding's playing first base. I think we could feel like he would maybe not as good as a first baseman, just kind of like because he's a little bit smaller. I guess his fielding numbers don't look that good, but I feel like at least by the eye test, he's better. Yeah, 22, he was better here. I guess he's also getting moved around a lot. It's like an above average fielder at second. Yeah, let's get 2020 back again. But either way, I do think Jake Cronenworth definitely has a lot to improve on. I don't necessarily think he's gonna do that. I think this is, unfortunately, I think this is who he is right here. An average hitter that can play multiple positions, an average infielder, which is okay. We need the clutchness though, and if somehow he makes some improvements where the slugging goes up a little bit, that would be amazing. Now, talk about Jake Cronenworth. I want to get into Xander Bogaerts, right? Xander Bogaerts, different story over here, man. I mean, I think that a lot of people look at his 23 season. It's like 790 OPS. That's really good. Last year he was hurt a bunch and he was really bad, but it's like, okay, but he's hurt a bunch. This season, dude, and we've talked about it before, so I'm not going to go too much into it. He was bad. Look, we're talking about right here. He was really bad up until the very, very end of the season. God, I keep hitting the wrong one. Here we go. September. Where was it? This is the wrong year. 23. First year on the Padres. Last 2 months of the season. Not really. Last month of the season, 1,100 OPS. Before that, he was not doing good. He had like a 710 or something OPS. Under a 720 OPS. And look, his numbers weren't great either, right? You go next year, also not great here. Fielding, it's a lot better than I feel like a lot of us think. This is definitely more at second base where 23 is at short. Still pretty good, though. He doesn't have a great arm, but he's still a solid fielder. And the base running, like he's just a solid player across the board. The pop hasn't been there. And I think that's what we felt. And that's not like, not like the pop has been there, but the gap-to-gap hitting, the big-time RBI guy that he was in Boston, it hasn't been here. So that's what we need to see. I mean, look, the thing is also like, look at all these numbers. We look at 22 and 20, or 24 and 23. Like, all this is just down. All the hard hit, the barreling, all that stuff is way down. But you go back to 2022, it's pretty good. I mean, it's all like, but it's all higher. It's all higher. It's average and stuff. He had a great year, but his numbers, it's really, advanced analytics don't love him, dude. 21, that's a lot better. It's a lot better, right? Go 2019, a lot better. See, like, this is when he was really peaking in Boston. Look at that. Like, but it's weird because, and I think a lot of it is injuries. Okay, that's way back when he's really young. But like 2018, 2019, 2021. Oh, didn't do it. 2021. Those are all good. Problem is, we're a few years removed from that now. So I'm not as that confident in Bogaerts or Cronenworth to be like amazing players. But if they can be competent players, if they can be good infielders and just above average guys, I think that's what the Padres need them to be. They're middle of the lineup, bottom of the order kind of guys. And I think that's what you're shooting for. So on that end, like, I don't think that the Padres need like Bogaerts to put up an 850 OPS, but can he put up a 770? That'd be sick. That'd be so amazing. Can Jake Cronenworth put up a 730 plus OPS? That'd be awesome. That's what we're asking for. And I also don't think like people are really, like, they really do freak out about the money. I think long term, yes, because we're seeing these guys decline already and there's a lot of years left on these deals. But for this season, the actual salary that they're making isn't some terrible thing if they put up those numbers. That's okay if they put up those numbers. Still, long term, like I said, the issue is long term. The issue is not right now. That's what I've said a lot this offseason about the Padres. What's your confidence level of the rotation? I mean, it's really just, are they healthy? Does Yu Darvish come back? If Yu Darvish comes back, I feel extremely good about the rotation this year. Michael King, seen him today. That dude is an ace. That dude is a monster. Let's give him that Joe Musgrove extension. That's what I'd love to see. I was hoping that they were going to do it in the offseason. Honestly, I think Michael King's like, dude, I'm going to wait. I'm going to ball out this year. I'm going to get paid. So maybe they're not able to do it. Either way, I do really like I really do like the rotation. Pivetta was a really good underrated signing. He's making $1 million this year. If he looks really good, there's a very good chance that he opts out. So the Padres end up paying him $1 million for 1 year of just solid stuff. If he's good this year, and he's been a good pitcher. He's pitched in Fenway. We talk about with Bogarts, like Fenway helped him a lot. He's a Fenway merchant. Well, it's the other way for Pivetta. He's going now into Petco. Come be a Petco merchant, bro. On the pitching side, that's nice. So I like him. Dylan Cease, I do still think we made a video about it a couple days ago about Dylan Cease and also Sandy Alcantara about potentially seeing the Padres make kind of a swap for those guys, right? What would that look like? You know, two not one deal, but two different deals. I still think that he could get traded. I still think that he could get traded in the first month of the season. He could get traded around the All-Star break. I think if the Padres are in a spot where they're winning and stuff, they can still trade him. They can still adjust at the deadline, trade him away, get a different starter, and, you know, maybe build up the farm a little bit, maybe build up some youth a little bit. We liked Alcantara because he has multiple years of control after this season, where Dylan Cease is a free agent. Michael King is a free agent. Those are the big question marks there. And then you have Yu Darvish, who's hurt right now. I mentioned it earlier. They said that he's playing catch. He's looking good. No setbacks. They're just not rushing him. And there's no point in rushing him. Darvish is old, man. But it doesn't seem like it's some super severe thing where last year it felt like, dang, dude, like maybe the like with Musgrove, it was like shoulder. Oh, he's all jacked up all year, week to week. Darvish is like day to day. He's playing catch. He's very quickly. He's already like, you know, improving and able to move and work out and stuff. So I do think that Darvish, it's not as serious, but it might take a little while. I definitely hope it's not as serious. That is it'll be a problem with the rotation if that's the thing. The rotation is thin. If we have those four guys, it's going to be a very, very good rotation. The bullpen, I think the bullpen's going to be fine, dude. Ruben Yeaple works his magic with a couple of these guys. We're going to have someone emerge. You had Estrada last year who was amazing. He takes a big step this year. Suarez, I still think you can see Suarez get moved. Suarez is a little scary for me. He needs to develop another pitch. That's really what it's going to come down to for him, where he's going to get figured out, because he really did get figured out towards the end of last year. Hopefully it looks better. I know his spring wasn't that great. I'm aware of that. Jason Adam is absolutely ridiculous. So you got some big guys there. Morahone was awesome last year. I did see like last week, or maybe it was this week, people were talking about like Morahone not being good. Dude, Morahone is a monster. Yeah, he needs to be a little bit better in some of these high leverage spots, right? He's got roughed up a couple times. This is his year. This is his year to come out there and be that guy. Maybe he's eighth inning guy. Maybe he turns into the closer. I don't think it's that far fetched, but he has the stuff to do it. That knuckle curve is disgusting, dude. So I like him a lot. And we've been big Morahone fans here. We've always talked about you cannot make him a starter. His arm can't handle it, and that's why he hasn't been a high leverage reliever yet, because they wanted to make him a starter for so long. So the bullpen, those guys are really good. You got some back end guys, right? You're going to see some guys just improve as the season goes on. And this is definitely stuff that we're going to talk about as the year continues to go on, where it's like, oh, boom, this guy's awesome, dude. Ruben Niebla, they're working together. They got this guy right. But the rotation, I think, is good. I think the back spot, totally expected Kolek to make it. I think that was a big surprise for a lot of people. He doesn't. They go, and there's two spots open. So they go with Vasquez and Hart. Hart's also very intriguing, dude. He won the Korean equivalent of a Cy Young. It's not a Cy Young, because obviously that's the MLB award, but the equivalent of it, right? He won that last year. He's a lefty. We finally get a lefty in the rotation. Once again, he's a cheap arm. If Hart comes in and Pivetta come in and they're good, they're paying Pivetta $1 million, right? What are they paying Hart? I want to see this real quick, because it's like insane. If they get back in the rotation stuff, he's on a $1.5 million deal. And let me see if there's a signing bonus with Nick Pivetta. I don't know if there is. Let's see. Okay, he got a $3 million signing bonus. So $4 million. So there's a chance that the 4 or 5 starters for the majority of the year, if Hart keeps that spot, right, are making a combined $5.5 million. That is insane stuff. If they get that has to make you, as a Padre fan, feel a lot more confident about the organization. Even though we've seen a lot of people be like, the process is so bad. It's so bad with how they bring up these vets and stuff. Doing that is an area where you need to be like, okay, maybe we don't like that Gurriel, right? That they didn't go with the youth movement at all in the lineup, and they're DFAing Iggy Rosario, right? They're sending down Campy, all this stuff, right? Well, then you need to flip. On the flip side, you can, and I'm totally fine with people being critical about that. I 100% agree. But on the flip side, they get 4 and 5, a good 4 and 5 rotation guys with those two for 5.5 million combined. Sorry, falling apart on my words here. That deserves a lot of praise, man. That's impressive stuff. That would be amazing, especially when you look at some of these just absurd pitching deals. I mean, guys that we know, Sean Manaea was good last year, so I'll give him credit there. Like Nick Martinez is making a ton of money, right? Like a lot of these dudes just make a bunch of money and they're not that great. Like that is just the reality. I'm not trying to rip on guys. Like, yeah, go get paid, do that. I'm always in support of that. But if you're getting it on that cheap, like there's guys that aren't very good making $15+ million a year. And if you're able to turn that into it, hats off to Ruben able to, because he's like, yo, go get this guy. This guy has his stuff. He's gonna be good. Don't worry. And they just kind of find guys, and Preller too. You got to give Preller's credit there, though he does have some. We've talked about some of the issues with him. Final thing, because I think we're about to hop off in a second. One more thing right here for you. Do you see DeVries and Salas both being called up at some point this season? No, I mean, maybe. I know Salas it's interesting because the catcher position is just so bad. But dude, he needs work, man. Like he had a bad offensive year last year. If DeVries came up, that would be insane. I don't think that's gonna happen either. I really don't think so. I think next year is when the clock starts ticking. I don't really think they should be considered all this year. But next year, if you have some, if Arise is gone or whatever, maybe there's an infield spot open, right? Cronenworth's at first, or maybe you move him or whatever happens. All of a sudden, you might have an infield spot for DeVries. So I could see that. Obviously, catcher position is wide open still. I just don't think he's produced well offensively enough yet. But yeah, man. I guess kind of going into the series, this Brave team is good. This Brave team is supposed to be better than the Padres if you look at projections and stuff like that. I think it's fair. I mean, they've been more consistent throughout the years. But either way, these are very evenly matched teams. Padres beat the Braves in the playoffs last year, so that's the other thing. I mean, Braves are a little shorthanded in that one. They had kind of fallen off a little bit. The Braves rotation is really good. I think honestly, I think that like majority of like baseball media guys, they have the Braves rotation is way better than the Padres. I don't agree with that. I think that it's good. I think they're pretty similar when Darvish is there. But dude, I'm pumped for this series. Honestly, I think it'll be a split. Not to be boring, but that is just the reality of it. But I do think the Padres win today, and I think that's going to be really exciting. I think that we're going to get some funny stuff. I said that Gurriel's going to, I tweeted this out earlier, but I said that Gurriel's going to hit a home run just because everyone's been like, dude, this guy shouldn't have made the team. That's always the guy that hits the opening day home run. So that's my projection. He's going to hit a home run today. Padres are going to, Michael King's going to look like a monster. And then the discourse after the game is, this is why we need to extend Michael King, even though that's been the whole offseason, if you really think about it. But yeah, I think how many minutes we got? We had 8 minutes until game time. So I'm going to let you guys all go. Talk to you later. Hopefully, if you're listening to this before, after, whatever, we'll go live on Sunday. I think that's the plan. But we'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good one. Go Padres.